Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com. Well, the boxes just keep coming, don't they? I just received and listened to, and enjoyed listening to, Rafael Orozco, the Philips Legacy. Goodness gracious. Orozco passed away in 1996. He was only 50. He died of complications from AIDS, which is a terrible shame. He was a very, very fine pianist. At the end of his career, he was making recordings for, OVD's Valois Astre, where his Albanese Iberia and other things like that showed up. But before that, he started on EMI and then jumped to Philips, whence these recordings from Decca, Australian Eloquence, thank you, Cyrus, have shown up. And it's 8 CDs. That is his Philips legacy. At the heart is a very fine Rachmaninoff concerto cycle with Paganini Rhapsody, conducted by Edo de Waard with the Rotterdam Philharmonic. Now, of course, de Waard went on to do an amazing Rachmaninoff series with Zoltan Kochius in San Francisco, which sort of eclipsed these, although they were around as a Philips twofer for a long time. And they're very nicely recorded, very good recordings. They really are. I have to say one thing, though. We really need to talk about this. In fact, my friends, we need to talk about this. As time goes on, and as all of these boxes show up, especially from artists who were, I wouldn't say marginal, but they were not the label priorities. They were very good. We realize, I've said this before, talent isn't rare. Intelligence is. I mean it. It's incredible how much good stuff got recorded. How easy it is to play the great masterpieces really well. I mean, it's also easy to screw them up. But the people who screw them up are really rather the exceptions, aren't they? Most performances are pretty good. Some of them are terrific. And there's just tons and tons and tons of it. And that really makes the entire classical music universe very complicated because back in the days when there were only a few major labels and they really promoted exclusive artists, we didn't have much choice because this is what was put before us. And so we decided that the major artists were just a limited number of names and everybody else was sort of along for the ride. But now what we're seeing is that there's just a tremendous number of really, really fine artists. And the other thing that happens to us critics and also to you as listeners, and I see this in the comments, is that we take these new recordings, these reissues, not new recordings, these reissues such as this, and we treat them with great enthusiasm, and we listen to them completely fresh, and we decide that they were just terrific, even though when they initially came out, we may not have been so enthusiastic. And that really begs another question, which is, what were we thinking back then? Did we really have any idea what we were talking about? What was our basis for comparison that produced our original view of artists like Orozco? I mean, it's a really interesting question because there's just too much good stuff. Most of this is really pretty terrific. It really is. Also, I must say, this book has a fabulous liner note by ClassicsToday.com and Gramophone's very own Jed Disler, who, I have to point out, has a splendid new podcast, which was mentioned in the comments the other day, on pianos and piano music and piano performers and all things keyboard. And I really suggest that you look him up because he's just a tremendously knowledgeable and vibrant, interesting personality, and he knows everything. It's incredible. He's incredible. So, and he quotes me in these notes too, by the way. So there you go. It's just a love fest. These are very good performances. I'm going to tell you what's in here. Then you got to decide how many versions of each thing you really need to have. I can't say you must get this. I mean, I could say that about 100 million things. But and Orozco was not one to choose unusual repertoire. There aren't sort of angles here that are really different from anything anyone else would have done. So it's your call, but it's good. Let's just say that. We get, first of all, Chopin, Piano Concerto No. 2, the Andante Spianato, and the Polonaise Brillante with Edo de Waard. And it's a lovely performance. I mean, there's nothing not to like. There will be others that you like more and others that you like less, or maybe this will be the one you like more. I don't know. Chopin, the four scherzos, fantastic performances. The Nocturne, Opus 62, number 2, and the reissues, absolutely excellent. Chopin, Piano Sonata number 2, takes the exposition repeat in the first movement, which is nice. Otherwise, it's a little bit ordinary, I have to confess. But the Liszt Sonata, to which it is appended, is really good. It's a really, really fine, cohesive, exciting, technically just about flawless Liszt Sonata. Really, there's so many of those now, though. Oy, oy, oy. Schumann, Kreisleriana, and the Fantasy. Oh, I love the Fantasy. Oh, my God, the Fantasy is so great. This is a really good one. A really, really good one. As Jed points out in his fabulous note, it's rather linear in its conception, and I like that. Because Schumann, by the way, was a really fine contrapuntist. People don't give him credit for that, but if you look at his four fugues, for example, or the third movement of the fourth movement. Pardon me, the fourth movement of the Rhenish Symphony, which is just a wonderful piece of liturgical polyphony. I mean, he could write. He could write that stuff, and there's quite a bit of it in the Fantasy, and Orozco lets you hear all of it. Rachmaninoff works for piano. Well, this is like various things. Let me tell you what they are. He's a very good Rachmaninoff pianist. He really was, because he gets through the thickets of notes without making them sound like thickets. And that's what you want. You don't want to be trapped in a thicket. You've got the prelude in C sharp minor. Okay, you got a bunch of preludes, the melody, the Polacanel in F sharp minor, Liebeslied, which is the transcription after Fritz Kreisler, etude tableaus, let's see, 1, 2, 3, three of them, and the Moment Musical in B minor, Opus 16, number 3. Does that tell you a lot? No, but it's a very, very beautiful recital. Then you get the Rachmaninoff concertos and Paganini Rhapsody, which are really good, and the accompaniments are really good. It's just give those a listen if you like. Dismissed them before. I think you'll enjoy them. Harris Goldsmith, I think, in his original review, which is quoted here, pointed out the balances are really, really well done between the piano and orchestra. I mean, these concertos are very symphonic. You've got to hear the orchestra, and you do. It's very nice. Tchaikovsky, Piano Concerto number 1, Rachmaninoff, Piano Concerto number 2. Okay, that's fine. The Tchaik one, nobody had much good things to say about when it came out. It's exciting. It's a very exciting performance, and that's it. That's the whole deal here. It's only 8 discs, and maybe because it's only 8 discs, you might want to take the plunge, because it's easy to get through, and it's not one of those enormous things that you'll never ever listen to as long as you live. For the Rachmaninoff, if you didn't have the original Philips Twofer, which I did, but if you didn't, this is certainly worth considering. For that alone, and the rest of the stuff shows a really fine artist. Somebody who could have been a big one, maybe, had he, had fortune taken a different turn. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.